Hey you guys, it's Jaded. So I've been playing a lot of Torchlight in the past week, really sinking my teeth into the game, and instead of giving you guys the first impressions or something very basic, I wanted to go more in depth because it brought up a lot of things with me where I realized, Diablo 3 could take notes from this. Diablo 3 could learn from this and grow their own game. It really just makes you realize some of the faults that game has. And I'm not comparing these two directly. I mean, they are very different games. They're trying to be very different games. Torchlight, on one hand, wants to be this very open environment. Its main focus is fun, and it's not limited by that multiplayer secure environment that Diablo 3 is. Diablo 3 tries to be more like an MMO, where everything's online, and you can't alter any game files, you can't do add-ons. It's very secure. So I'm going to start off talking first about layers. Now, what I mean with layers is probably the most important thing when it comes to an RPG, is you need these different stages, different systems in the game that really all work together, towards building like the best character that you can, or the best team of characters, or whatever your game may be. But these layers could be anything. They could be gear progression, they could be a certain XP system in the game, they could be skills, they could be item drops, or whatever. But the game needs these layers to feel fulfilling. So when I first started playing Torchlight 2, that just blew me away with how deep some of the systems in the game were, how many of the systems that were in the game in comparison, playing Diablo 3 a lot. So for example, when you're starting out, you're getting a lot of unique drops. These aren't the best items in the game, but they're the best items really you can get early on, up until a certain level, when I believe legendaries start being the best. So you have these uniques. The uniques can be set items as well, which is I thought was really interesting. So they just kind of have like this set system in the game for various things. You might have like a jewelry set, they're all unique items. You might have a rare set, the blue items in the game that might just have some set bonuses. So they don't necessarily have the Diablo 2 mentality of just specific sets, but they kind of like mesh that in with the rest of the items. So another layer to the item customization in Torchlight are sockets. Sockets you get throughout the game. They can be very simple, from the simple like cold resist, lightning resist style of gem, where it's just very basic drop. But you can also get the next step up. Gems that can have magical properties. So for example, health regeneration on armor, but then when you put that in a weapon, it might have like physical damage over a certain amount of time. So these very simple, straightforward gems. And then it goes a step further, and you can get unique versions of gems, things that drop off of specific bosses or specific quests, things like that. From what I've seen, the socketing system in Torchlight 2 doesn't go very deep, but it is more interesting than Diablo 3, where you're just putting in these stat gems into stuff. And you're never really, it doesn't really go out of the way to make socketing interesting in Diablo 3 yet. And I say yet because it is a very clear customization thing that they'll just have to expand on it to make it more interesting. So, you got sockets in Torchlight 2, you got augmentation. Sometimes weapons can have augmentation on them. And what this is essentially, you have to go kill X number of mobs to get this stat on your weapon. So for example, you have to go kill, say, 25 dwarves, and then you get, say, like a skill bonus on your weapon. Something really cool and unique. I haven't seen too many of these. They're actually kind of rare, but they can be on unique items. So, just a little something extra to make you go and actively try to just upgrade your gear in some way. Another layer they have with gear is enchantments. Enchanting can be done once you get to a certain level. This NPC pops up in town, you can enchant your stuff. But the cool part about enchanters, it's random what they add. It's never the same. You can have specific enchanters that you find in the real world, and that's really where the system gets kind of interesting. You got your basic enchanter in town, but then you go outside, you can have like a socket enchanter, or you can have like a main attribute enchanter, someone who does something like adding dexterity, adding focus or vitality or whatever. And then you kind of have like master crafters. And I don't fully know the extent of all these crafters. There's quite a few you can get. You can get like lightning enchanters, and they can either give you resist or lightning damage, things like that. So it could be pretty cool because it not only forces you to go out into the world and find these things, it forces you to play the game. You know, if you want to, like say you have a weapon, you need to get it a socket. Well, you're going to go out into the world and play until you find that enchanter, just so you can have, you know, the best gear. So just a little something extra there. And another cool thing with enchanting is you can only do it, I don't know exactly how it works, but sometimes you can do it twice on an item, and then I guess master enchanters can do it 3 times, or I could be completely wrong there. But you know, you can only clear all your enchantments. You can't clear like one enchantment. So it's kind of a gamble thing. Like you could get one really good stat, and then you're like, okay, enchant it again, and you get a really bad stat, so you have to start over. So there is some sort of roll of the dice there, but it's not like super crazy, and it's only really gonna matter for like end-to-end, super end game stuff if you want to be the best. So you don't really get frustrated with that. So on top of gear, you also have stuff that you can essentially equip called spells. You get these tomes throughout the game. They can either drop or you can buy them off NPCs. And spells are really, a lot of people use them as passives. There's a lot of spells with just, you know, give me more armor, give me more block chance, etc. But there's also active spells, stuff that you can use like a party heal. You can summon zombies, for example. So there's a lot of creativity here. Just everybody can get these spells. And the cool thing is you can even equip them on your pet, your companion that you get. And they even have AI to use this stuff. They're not the smartest. They're not going to use it perfectly. If you give them, you know, summon like skeleton archers, they're just going to do it whenever. But it can be useful. I mean, they're just going to be spamming that heal spell. It might help you out here and there. Or, you know, you can give them the passives, things like that. So that's just another small layer that they've added to customization that's not directly related to necessarily your skills, but, you know, you can put it on your hotbar and it can be used like a skill. So let's get into actual skills now. This is an area in Torchlight where I feel like it doesn't go super deep. So let's look at the tree here. You're looking at no sort of ordinary skill tree that we've seen in the past. Essentially, you could just go through, pick any skill you want as long as you have the level requirement. So once you hit X level, the skill unlocks to be able to put points into it. And you know, you can pick it, you use it, you can skill it up. And by putting more points into it, you're gonna get this, they also have this tier system that you can hover over and see like these extra things that the skill will benefit from as you level it up. For example, you might get like extra range on your fireball skill or more blast radius or something like that. But there are no like synergies from Diablo 2, none of that. There are no, you know, requirements skill-wise to use another skill. And for the most part, it feels kind of random. Like sometimes the skills you get at the very beginning are better than the stuff it feels like that you get much later on. So I feel like the skill system's an area where Torchlight could really grow. It definitely locks you into your character, since the respecking in the game is very minimal. You can only respec the last 3 skill points you used, so you can't just start fresh and build your character up a different way, which in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of that, but I could see, you know, why they do it. They want you to have some sort of attachment to a character. However, the thing is, the first character you make will never be perfect. Like, it will never be that character that you want it to be as you learn the game mechanics and so on. So you're gonna want to reroll that same exact class, and you know, that might be a problem for some people. I find it kind of annoying. You know, I was playing at Outlander, and then I learned that the glaive throw skill was like super amazing, and I just kind of haven't been using it, and apparently it's like super overpowered. So you know, it's just something I missed, and I could be killing mobs a lot faster if I rerolled. So I don't know, it's kind of frustrating, but that is kind of the game they wanted to go for, you know, to get that replay value out of the game by rerolling. And it's kind of old school mentality, which I kind of respect. But for a game that is so open to mods and, you know, things like that, we'll probably see some mods to respec. And I know you can already go and get like respec potions, but you can't re-roll your stats. Like all your attribute points that you put in, you can't respec those. So yeah, overall, I mean, the skill system, it never feels bad. It never feels like it needs more, but it's definitely an area that Torchlight could improve. You know, I really like Diablo's skill system. I think it works well for Diablo, and you know, while the skills themselves may need a lot of balancing, a lot of tweaks, and the game might be in a bad place in terms of that, I still really like the ability to just, you know, switch around runes and kind of change up the core mechanic of a skill, or just give it a little bit of spin on it. Anyway, so, you know, you have all these interesting layers to Torchlight's customization, and it really adds up to just be like this really fulfilling sort of experience as you're leveling up, because you're getting a lot of different items. You know, when you're playing Diablo 3, you're just looking for the legendaries, you're looking for the set items, you're looking for really boring stuff all the time, and there's just not enough things that you're out there looking for, out there progressing. You know, you're progressing your Paragon level as you play, which is great, but it doesn't add anything interesting or active to the player, or anything actively customizing. You know, like, I'm not getting Paragon levels and then putting points I get into other stuff to, like, you know, make my character more interesting or more unique. So I really love that with Torchlight. It feels like you're just accomplishing so much. You're out there getting sock gettables, you're getting uniques and sets, which you can, you know, if you don't like 4 of them, you can transmute them into one new legendary, or one new unique, and you know, you can get 3 gems, you can transmute them into a new gem. You can get a weapon, say it doesn't have any sockets, you could put a socket into it by adding 2 gems to the transmute. Like, there's a lot of things you could work towards that just feels really satisfying, you know. And another system I didn't really talk about was the fame system, but essentially the fame system, I don't fully understand all of it, but basically you level up your fame system through killing champions and things like that in the game, and then once you ding, you get a skill point to use. So it just gives you another reason, something else that's kind of just adding. It's similar to Paragon levels in that regard, but it's giving you an active skill point to use wherever you want to add to that customization. Alright, now that we covered all the main systems in the game and kind of give you like a basic idea what the game's about, I want to talk about the music, because the music really impressed me. Almost every turn, you know, when we get new music, a new track to listen to, whether it's a new act or whatever, I was absolutely just blown away every time I had to stop and just listen to it, because it's so gorgeous. And if you guys don't know Matt Ullman, I'm probably butchering his name. He worked on Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and they didn't get him for Diablo 3. Instead, he's in Torchlight, and it really just, it blows my mind how good this guy is. He's a musical genius, and a lot of times in video games, music doesn't affect me. It doesn't make me stop and think about it. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, it's nice, it's there. But here, I mean, I literally had to stop. And I'm even going to shut up now and just let you guys listen to a track. So even if you guys don't even end up picking up the game or checking it out, definitely check out the soundtrack. Play it while you're playing Diablo 3, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely worth your time. So, you know, there's a lot more to Torchlight, and you know, without making this video too ridiculously long, I just want to say that Torchlight is not without its flaws. Torchlight does definitely have downfalls. If you're thinking about picking it up, though, definitely worth the money. I would say the one downfall I found that kind of turned me off a bit was multiplayer having a lot of like hang-ups in zoning. Like, we would zone and then the game would just hang, and you'd have to either close it or just wait a ridiculous time. And that's not just me, that's like a known thing that people experience. You know, we got around it by just playing on LAN. That fixed it for some reason. But I mean, overall, the game is just like so much content for $20. Like, what? How is that even possible? How is this game even existing in, you know, the current age? It's just really impressive on a lot of levels, and I think it's worth your time. It's worth checking out if like it interests you at all. You know, if you're put off by the art style or something, You know, I kind of was too. As at first, you know, getting into it, the game felt like I was playing a Disney game. It felt kind of childish, and it took a bit more playing to realize, like, or not to realize, but just to feel out the game and to be just comfortable with it and to actually enjoy the game for what it is and actually appreciate the aesthetic. So yeah, there it is, guys. Definitely recommend picking up the game. You know, for me, it's not going to last too much longer, but there's some free DLC that they have planned for Torchlight 2 that might bring me back into the game. You know, I also might just play the max level and see what's really at the end game. Right now I'm only level 72 on like my like main tank class that I was playing with other people. But you know, because it's not always online and because people can alter files and cheat in the game, I mean, there's already a cheat that you can do with vendors to get like free loot and stuff. So it's not like that super secure environment that you get with a Blizzard game with Diablo 3. So that kind of affects, like, you know, how long you want to keep playing this game. But even though I'm not going to keep playing this game forever, I definitely feel fulfilled out of it. I mean, it's 20 bucks. It's 20 bucks, guys. Like, come on. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hopefully Blizzard can take notes on Torchlight and learn a thing or two. But that's going to do it. So I will see you guys later.